one of the things that Buddhist practice teaches us is that not knowing is the beginning. And we humans don't really like to not know. So we create a lot of structures, stories, opinions, ideas to try to help us know, because we're looking for the stability and the security of knowing. So in Chris's talk, he talked about consciousness and energy, and we don't really even know what those things are. And then in one part of Chris's talk, he was talking about positive energy and negative energy. Well, what's positive and what's negative? So often in our lives, what we think is negative actually turns out to be positive. And what we think is positive turns out to be negative. You know, my work job is as a psychotherapist. I think Paul might have mentioned that. And I've been doing this work for over 30 years. And it's hard to remember all the different stories that I've heard, but so many of them revolved around either, I thought this was a great thing, and then in the end it turned my life upside down. Or there was this horrible experience that happened to me. I fought so hard against this happening, and then the outcome was completely different than I had expected. It's hard, even for me, to remember that in the moment when I have preferred outcomes. But it's pretty clear that we don't know what the best thing is. We don't know what positive energy is, and we don't know what negative energy is. We name them based on our likes and dislikes. And we try to control things based on what we desire. Or for most of us, it's also what we're afraid of, what we don't want. We try to prevent what we don't want, and we try to have happen what we do want. Ironically, that leads to a very narrow, small, and limited life. Zen and Buddhism are practices of liberation, are practices of openness and freedom. But for many of us, that's scary. We don't know what that really means. Zen Master Bon used to tell a story about a circus bear. And he'd talk about how this bear was in this traveling circus, and it was in its cage, and it would go from town to town. And then one place it stopped, and the circus closes up for the night, and somebody forgot to lock the door of the cage of the bear. So the bear walked out. And the bear walked into the forest, and the bear started getting hungry. So the bear started doing tricks. Started doing somersaults, it started doing all the things that the bear was trained to do, expecting to get fed. And there wasn't any food. So the bear turns around and goes back to its cage because it was safe and comfortable there. Of course, it's obvious, but we're the bear. We keep doing the tricks we know how to do, trying to get the goodies that we want or the things we need to sustain ourselves. And, we get used to the fact that it kind of works. But it doesn't always work. And sometimes it stops working. And at that moment, we have to figure out, what is this life? If the old tricks don't work, what do I do? And a little bit as a connection to that, we define ourselves by these things that we do. And when the things stop working, we stop knowing who we are. And where, in many ways, we would say, that's a bad situation. Our familiar ways don't work anymore, and we've lost the sense of who we are. But that's the starting point for our practice.